Hi, we're about to start, everyone, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, can you hear me now? Really hopeful. Liam's going to flick you back up to my face so that I'm not so... Right, we are trying something different. I don't think the audio quality is going to be quite as good as it usually is because we're running it through one of the cameras. but for some reason microphone shopping has just become very high on our list. So sorry about that. I did run through showing you a few of the cards that we made last week, and with our Happy Haunting collection, and with our Too Cute to Spook items, and our latest Marshmalloween. We've also got the blog challenge, which I showed a couple of those cards from, but today we're here to make 5 in a flash with the Autumn Breeze card kit. So if you're still with me, having put up with a few minutes of radio silence from us, thank you very much. And I am going to just dig into my kit. Now, the only card that I have made from this kit so far are the 2 that I made for the challenge a couple of weeks ago, which I did just show you. And that was using one of the pieces of patterned paper and popping it with some of the add-on specialty. And then I used the waste. So Liam's going to split the cameras up for us now. And we're going to be able to see. So these were the cards that I made 2 weeks ago. So this is all that's been taken out of this particular kit bag. So this is my kit. I do have a couple of the add-ons next to me, and I'm not quite sure how you like to play with your kit, but I'm going to run through what I do when I get a kit out. So bag gets hidden and often lost, if I'm honest. I'm hunting for that for days. And then I use my whole desk. I spread out all around. My desk is just an IKEA worktop. It's not a particularly big one. I would say it's just it's almost like a school desk size. And then what I do is I have my tools, I have my guillotine and my tub of essentials. This is very carefully organised. So this is my Misties, my little trimmer, my die cutting plates, and my favourite dies, which are all my stitched dies. I have that tub there, I have the Cricut, and then I have little pots of pens and tools off to my left because I'm a lefty. God, the camera's not happy about the shiny, sorry. So my tools are off to my left, and then I just use the whole rest of the area all around my craft mat to spread out my kit items. So I'm going to clear off these cards that I shared. And I'm going to pop this here. Now, this is an important one. I like to decant all of my ephemera into a pot or a tub, and I do this so that I've just seen a question from Alma. What's the new class coming up? Well, it's really exciting. I did mention it last week, and I will be confirming this week the details of. It's going to be in November. It's going to be a whole weekend, and I'm not telling anyone the theme yet. I'm sorry, Alma, to be a tease, and usually I'm terrible, but we have all spent so much time and effort on this one that it's going to be a really lovely surprise. Similar to our Full of Woe class, we're not going to share all the details of everything that you get, but I have got 4 designers designing with me. You have got multiple items that you'll keep. At the end of our Full of Woe class, you had your stamp set, which was an exclusive, and you had obviously the majority of your ephemera that you didn't use, but usually once you've made 10 cards out of one of our standard kits, you've still got oodles and oodles of items left, whereas with the Full of Woe class it was fully kitted. So this time for our next class it will be fully kitted, but you will also have a lot of takeaways. So it's all very exciting. If you did attend the Full of Woe class, you will be getting an email first because you are Love from Lizi alumni. You will be getting a discount and an early bird that is exclusive to people that got the Full of Woe. And if you're new to us, sign up to our newsletter because that is how we will be sharing details of the class. Anyhow, right, I've decanted all of my ephemera into a pot, and I do this because it is just so much easier to flick through and I don't want to lose any of the little bits. So little pot, little handy hint, and I've got 5 pieces of cardstock that came in the kit. I love a white card base. I really like keeping the colours for die cutting or for extra layers. So I try very hard to use white card bases. Because we put alcohol marker friendly cardstock in the kit, I do try to keep that separate as well. But if you need to use it, you need to use it. It's what it is. So let's make something, shall we? I'm going to spread all of my items out. I've got this lovely mesh. See what we can do with that. The embellishment bag I'm going to open up just so that I can see all of the little goodies. It helps me feel inspired, and it's this way. I'm going to put this bag here with the other one that I'm going to lose, and the ephemera bag as well. Okay, so we've got the question, is it in person or online? Now this class that we're going to be holding in November is online. It's over a weekend. It starts Saturday morning, Mountain Time, and runs for the day, and then it will start again on the Sunday. The product and the class you will receive is a better deal than if we were selling all the items individually, so that it is a discounted class in that regard. So right, let's start. What I'm going to do is regarding our next virtual class, I will send an email. What day is it today? Tuesday. I will send an email tomorrow with details so that everybody can feel like they're read in. And if there's any questions, we can deal with those. Okay? Right, so I am here just dry fitting pieces of ephemera, and I really love this particular one. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some mesh behind it, just to give it something a little bit different. To show you what I'm doing, I'm going to pop this down. I'm going to get some big scissors and just roughly cut the area that I need, just so that I'm not fighting with the whole great big piece. Okay, that can get out of the way now. Now there's different ways that you can do this. You could put double-sided tape on the back, you could put glue on the back. It is a personal preference situation. I'm going to do both. I'm going to put double-sided tape down, and then I'm going to put glue as well, just to give it a double secure. So this is, I'm not going to be putting it, I'm not going to create a shaker with this, although it would make for a wonderful shaker card, because you have got the leaves there that are begging, absolutely begging to be used for a shaker, because they're so shiny. Let me just look at this, it's so pretty. Right, so I've popped a little bit of double-sided tape on some of the edges, so that should be enough to hold it down, and then I can lay some wet glue in on top just to make it super secure, because the nature of the mesh is that it's going to want to jump up and be a bit of a pest, so you don't want that. We want it to stick in and to not go anywhere. So I've done that. Now let's just get that little bit of glue from the end, and now I'm going to cover this over, because it is very detailed die cut ephemera piece in places. This is going to make a difference, and if you can try not to snag the burlap as you go, that will help. It's very easy to correct that though, because all you need to do is use your scissors or even your fingertips to just pull it back over. And this is the back as well, bear in mind, so no one's going to know. But, sorry, you're down here on this camera. I wasn't looking up, I'm sorry. So, let's just de-snag, we don't need that one anyway, just by pulling it taut. There we go. Right, so I've popped tape, glue, tape. The ideal thing to do is to put something heavy on top of this and let it dry. Just give it a good few minutes to get dealt with, and I will pop it off to one side while I'm doing that. Okay. Finally, let's get a little bit here as well. Okay, so that will just sit off to the side drying for a minute whilst we carry on with what we're doing here. And I'm just trying to, I've got glue all over my fingertips now. Let's just very gently have a look. I mean, you could leave all of the edging on. You'd want to take off these thicker pieces at the side, so let's do that. And they do just pull out. They're not wedged in tight. You can use tweezers or scissors and just unhook them, and it gives that lovely frayed burlap look. You will be finding these little bits all around your house, I'm sure, for days. But it's just to take off that hard edge that there was, because there we go. So now, taking off that one as well. I actually think I prefer it. Considering it was just a rough cut, I think that actually looks quite nice. So I'm going to do that, and I want a bit of brown to run to anchor it, or perhaps a small piece of patterned paper. I mean, I could even use some of the leftovers from this. How could we do that? Okay, let's have a little think about where we're going to go with this. One of the things that I really like about these papers is they're not traditional autumnal colours. They are really soft, almost pastel-like colours. Let's stamp a sentiment while I mull that over. I think we'll go with crisp air, golden leaves and whispered dreams. That's a really lovely sentiment. And I think I am so indecisive today. I'm so sorry, everyone. You've come here to learn something, and I'm indecisive, to say the least. So when I make cards, I make them on the fly. I don't ever really have a plan. I know it would make sense to, particularly when I'm going live. Now, foam tape. Let's start popping this up. So I'm going to remove all of the double-sided adhesive. And actually I'm going to ink blend. That's where I'm going. I'm going to try to, excuse my back for a moment, everybody. I'm going to find a nice, soft colour combo. Yeah, okay. Antique linen and frayed burlap oxides. Let's move that off. I'll regroup myself. I've been thrown off by the audio not working. Okay, so I have blending brush, antique linen I'm going to go with first because it's the paler of the two colours. I'm going to start right in the middle, just with a really gentle hand. It's probably going to be quite tricky to see, so Liam will pull you in on the close-up. But with a really gentle hand, I'm just going in circular motions. Antique linen, of course, is exactly that, super soft and very hard to see. And then I'm going to use the frayed burlap. Now I understand there's a lot of people that would grasp at their pearls watching me use the same blending brush on 2 different inks. I will clean this on a microfiber cloth afterwards. I don't cross-contaminate between oxides and dye inks. Like, this is an oxide brush and the dye ones have got a different, I use a blending foam more often than not. But all I wanted to do is just create a little bit of a something to the background here, just so it had a little bit of shape and a little bit of character. I'm also cheating with my fingertips. Now, if you don't have longer fingernails, I strongly suggest getting a piece of painter's tape or masking tape like that and sticking your 3 fingers to it so that you don't end up with fingerprints in your ink blending, because you will otherwise have that. Right. Didn't put my blending mat down either, so my mat's going to be filthy now. Okay, so let's pop those over to one side and have a look again. Okay, so now we have a little bit of texture here. Next up, I'm going to grab a little acrylic block, and I'm going to take some of the leaves, some of the small leaves. In fact, I'm going to take all of them. There is 4 little leaves on here, and I'm going to position them as best I can randomly on here. And then I'm going to take that frayed burlap, throw my stamp at it. Here we go. Right. And then make sure I'm just twisting it. I'm starting towards the middle because then this way I won't be left with any awkward gaps. It's very easy to be left with awkward gaps. Twist and stamp. Wasn't it twist and shake? Wasn't that a particularly popular one? A little bit before my time, so I'll need confirmation if anyone can help out with that, please. Okay. I don't think I'm going to cover the whole of the back. I think I'm just going to, because it is supposed to be falling leaves, isn't it, after all? So, now we have this. Okay. And if I stamp my sentiment down here, yes, that's where we're going with it. So I'm going to take my Misty, because this is a really lovely, delicate sentiment, so I don't want to run the risk of it not taking. Pop this in. This is all still a bit damp, bear in mind. Oxides do take a few minutes to dry. Okay, line it up as best I can by eye. What is super helpful is that as long as my card is tucked by, pushing it in both ways. Liam's being cheeky about my using of tape, saying it's going to be in circulation for 18 months. He won't be if he carries on taking the mickey. Now then, frayed burlap again. I'm just going to kiss it onto the stamp. It's the lightest of touches, because oxides are a pigment, they're a bit thicker, and this is a really lovely detailed sentiment, and one of the reasons why I think it's great to use the Misty. So I can just gently kiss the ink to it, give it a little moment to transfer across, and then check, and I'm really happy with that because it's really soft and gentle. Crisp air, golden leaves and whispered dreams. This can go. And then I'm going to mount this up do I want to trim those edges off? I can't make my mind up. I'm gonna leave it. I'm going to get my foam tape now. I did start that process. Here we go. Right, so take that off, pop some tape in its place, and I'm going to do the same all around the edge. Okay. Ooh. So there we go, there's that piece. At the moment, well, today actually, just before we came on, I was chatting with a friend of mine who I hadn't seen for a little while, and she's just got a promotion, which is really lovely. Really, really happy for her. She worked really hard in the UK. She works with the cabinet, and she's done so well for herself. So it's been really, really exciting watching her career develop. Just thought I would share a little bit of happy news. She's yeah, she's a clever girl. Worked very, very hard. It's nice to hear happy stories. But we have also at the moment got a little unpaid intern because our little piglet is, the teachers are on strike here, so he's not at school, and I'm going to get told off for doing this again, but I'm grabbing my peeled paint distress marker, and I am just going to put a little bit of green in some of these leaves. Not all of them, and I'm not doing it carefully. I'm not filling the leaves. I'm just sort of including a tiny hint, because we've got that really lovely green on the ephemera piece, and it's just a few little strokes, just to add a little bit of contrast in there. Okay, so we're now here, and I've got glue all over my fingers. I'm going to, these little triangle trays are super if you just want a few out. Now where's my glue pen? Not here. I'm spread out across I don't know how many rooms at the moment, which is my own fault. That's okay because I have this. But usually when I do a spray I go from one corner to the other. And on this occasion, I'm going to go from this corner up to this corner to follow the stamped leaves. Okay, so I've got this one at least. So I'm just going to add in a few of these leaves. Oh, if I can. If the static will give way. Static here is strong. But it was quite the surprise when we moved here. Alberta is very dry, and yeah, my hair particularly was enormous for a very long time. Let's get a couple of green ones in as well. So I'm twisting them as I put them. They're not all going in the same direction. I am, now that I've stuck them, going to add in a couple of extras. Oh, there is extra glue there, silly me. Okay, so this isn't going to be quite the 5 in the flash that I thought it was going to be, because the sound issues, and honestly it doesn't take much to throw me off these days. It really, really doesn't. Do I still keep in touch with Sue, Mary asks? Yes, I do. Sue, I was actually even speaking with her this week. She is, yeah, she's doing well. She, for those that don't know who Sue is, she was my lovely little right hand when we were in the UK, and she stayed home in England when we moved because it didn't fit her at that time. So, oh, we're going close, there we go. So I'm going to call this one done because otherwise I'll keep going forever and I've got 5 to make. So, there's a card, number 1. I'm going to step it up for number 2. So, what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to clean off these tiny little stamps and put them back because otherwise they get lost. And I'm sorry that you all get subjected to my cleanup. So, sorry Mary, yes. Sue's lovely. I'm hoping, we're hoping to go back to England for a visit to the family next year. And when we do, I'm really hopeful that I get to meet up with her and have a good coffee and a chinwag because we used to talk every day and such is life. But yes, no, I do still very much keep in touch with my lovely Sue. She's a really good friend. We worked together for 7 years, so yeah. Right, next up. I really liked the peeled paint, so I'm going to try to find that in this system now, which is all tidy. We'll go with shabby shutters. Shabby shutters will do the job. Right, and I'm going to take another card base. I can talk about it this time because last time I had no audio. So I keep these white card bases on the desk because I like to keep my coloured pieces for die cutting and yeah, added accents rather than a card base. Right, the squeezy glue. I saw some friends, Shelley particularly, a crop. And Chris from Stank Junkies swears by this. This is the same company that makes the Misty tool. And it is a glue press. So it holds the bottle upside down, which is lovely because the glue is always at the right end. And you squeeze it. Like I can hold it and it's not going anywhere. So I'm trying it. I'm trying to get used to it. But it's called the Misty Glue Press. Now, next card. I've taken the big flower from the stamp set and I'm going to use shabby shutters, and similar to what I did with the last card, I'm going to stamp and twist. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's, and I'm doing it with an acrylic block because I'm not too worried if it doesn't stamp properly, if it's not fully formed. I mean, that's come out quite well because it's the first time I've used it. But I'm doing this to create a really gentle background, which is why I wanted to have a really nice pale colour. And I've just twisted it again. And I'm going to cover the whole of my card base with this. And there are so many lovely things that you can do with this sort of technique. I'm leaving a little bit of space in between. Giving it a press. This also would have worked really nicely with antique linen. You don't need to keep changing your colours up like I do. I like to, just so that it shows that if you're more of a green person or you don't have the colour that I used, that there are lots of different options available. Okay, so now I'm just going to fill those little gaps in. But as you can see, I have left quite a healthy gap between the flowers, so I don't want to overdo those edges. Let's just, and I'm going to call that done. So let's give this a little clean. Is everybody able to hear me okay? That is a question of the moment. Now, similar with the last card, but I'm actually going to pull my messy mat in for a change. Here we go. Dab it off the extra, and I'm just going to go around the edges, sort of dragging the colour in off the side, making sure to try to not splodge too hard and give a great big skid mark on there. This is just to try and I suppose it ties everything in together. If you rewind the video back a couple of seconds, you'll see that this just looks that little bit. Very nice and loud. Thank you very much. Am I too loud, Mary? Should I calm myself down a bit? Okay, now for this, you can have a look. There is lots of different floral pieces. I mean, you could use the wreath. That would look really pretty. All sorts of lovely options here, but I think I am going to go with the first piece that I picked out because I think that does look really pretty, and that was this one. So I'm going to pop those there. I'm going to lift it up with, I'm going to put some of the gold behind it. In the kit you've got a little bag of 3 lengths of, you've got gold twine, you've got this really lovely leaf green cord, and you've got a burlap as well. So I'm going to take some of the gold out because I think this will look really pretty and a big mess on the back. So easiest way to do this, tape runner or double-sided tape on the back. Get your end and poke it in, and then just twist and keep twisting until you feel like you've got enough twists. Other people just sort of lay it on the mat and scrunch it up to put it in. I'm going to call that done like that. Going to snip it. Just as belt and braces, I'm going to pop some tape on top if I can find it. There it is. Just across the middle, making sure that my tape doesn't poke off of the edge for anyone to see, so that when I turn it over, I've now got... This would be a really nice wedding card actually. You know, happy wedding day if it's a nice summery or spring wedding. Or a congratulations. Flower cards go for everything, don't they? Okay, so I'm just trying to use up all my little bits because I end up with hundreds of pieces of foam tape that have been snipped down, and then I just end up, yep. Such a simple little card that takes minutes to put together, but I think is really effective. And then you just have to choose which way up you want your flowers to go, and I think I'm going to go like that with the berries hanging down. So there's that, and we just have the sentiment now. So I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm not going to do stamp surgery because that upsets people, but I'm going to put her, this sentiment says sending warm hugs on the autumn breeze. Now this doesn't have to be an autumn card, so I'm going to take a sentiment strip, which I have a whole tub of these. I keep these handy because, well, because they are so handy. Get my Misty. Let's move this twine back to the ribbon area so it doesn't wander off. Now, stamping a skinny little sentiment can be one of life's trickies. So I'm not sure where I want it on my piece, where I want to place it, but also it means that I can leave it long and do the cutting afterwards. So let's give you some tips for getting this on. I've just used a piece of release paper. They're sticky, aren't they? And they're long and they're thin, so they're easier to handle if your fingers aren't in the equation. So stick it onto the release paper and then hold the release paper. That way you can be really quite particular about where you're putting it, and it is almost like that they've got a tiny little handle on them. And then you just need to try to get everything off. There we go. I'm going to peel this sentiment off and promise myself I will clean it later. Tuck this it's just so that if I need to double stamp it, I know that my cardstock is in the corner there. Close it over, pop that back down. I'm going to use the shabby shutters because it works. Now let's use my new bit of tape and prove Liam wrong. So I'm going to cover up on the sentiment. We have sending warm hugs on the autumn breeze. So I'm putting my finger in the sentiment where it says on the autumn breeze, and I'm going to lay my tape down. When you selectively stamp, it is really quite tricky on a small one, so I really would suggest doing this. Cover over what you don't want shown. Give it a good inking. Doesn't matter if it goes on the tape, but do remember to take the tape off. That's one of my favourites, to not bother doing that. We will tuck that down so that we have sending warm hugs. A gentle press again because it is a pigment. And pop. There we go, sending warm hugs. And that's now on this lovely little handle, which I can chop and lay over the flowers. I can send down the bottom, I can keep long, I can have it poking out of the flowers over here if I want to, and chop this off. Leaving things long just gives you choices, and with how indecisive I am, it really does help. So I sent Liam to go and get my little chopper. Thought I'd look at it then. I am actually going to make this a little bit narrower. Now, I'm not sure what your guillotine looks like, but that means that I can't hold this where I want it. So I'm going to put it down. Don't try this at home if you're not sure of your cutting, but that now I can reuse my piece of tape so that it holds it in spot, because that's the reason why you'd want the guide. It keeps your fingers out the way and it means the cardstock won't shift, but I'm still going to hold it, but the tape just keeps it in the right spot for just for those tiny little pieces. Usually I would always keep the guide on, but that makes that so much easier. Now let's try and peel this tape up. There we go. Okay, so now I just have to choose where I want my sentiment to sit, and I think I like it here coming in from the side, and I think I'm going to want the tiniest of gold peel off to join in the party. Oh, in fact no, I can use my little bubbles. So this is the variety pack that comes with the kit this month. So I'll just take these out. Okay, so the skinniest of the bubbles, or do I want, no, I'm going to use the waist. This is one of the best bits about peel offs. This design is all about these. I'm going to pull you in on the close one so you can see. They're like little chains. They're bubble peel offs. But in between the bubbles, you have this lovely shape And that is, I think, just what I wanted. I just wanted a tiny something that wasn't going to sit right at the bottom like a pin, just up from the bottom. And I was going to go for gold, but I think that looks really pretty, and I'm just going to snip it. I'm going by eye here. I like the look of it here. Cut that off, and now I can peel that back up. I will carefully get that back on later, so that can fight another day. There's my foam. Get to use my waste bits, which is always what I want. I will pop. Supporting the corners is the most important, because you don't want a saggy corner. And then once that's done, we can snip this in half to support the middle. So yeah, never throw your foam tape in the bin, because that can go for miles. So we've done a bit of stamping. We've used a piece of ephemera and some thread. What time are we on here, everyone? How badly am I doing for my flash? Oh, I didn't cut that quite straight, so ignore that this is hanging over the edge. I didn't do a straight snip, so I'm going to do what I usually do. Hang it over the edge, flip it over, and then use the side, and then you do know that you've got it right on there. So there we go. It doesn't look particularly dark or striking because I used a pale, but so far we have two. Let's do some more flash-like cards. Let's do some quickies. So I'm going to take the patterned paper. I'm going to save this one for a one sheet wonder because it's lovely and busy. And I think I'm going to use these. I'm going to get my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut off 1.5 inches. Okay, 1.5 inches of that. I'm going to need a card base. So let's, so whilst Liam hasn't been chatting, he's been trying to fix the microphone. Are we all good? Can you all hear me? Also, we've got a bit of a hot debate going on about stamp surgery. It's something that I have done historically, but as Ling says, getting them lined up again is it requires a steady hand. Okay, so I'm going to use some blueberries here. Actually, I prefer and I think it's so pretty, this piece, but it needs to be stood by itself. I don't want it to lose, because how about pop watering can with, okay, that's what we're going to do, everybody. That came together very quickly, and I'm going to use one of those gorgeous little birdies. Okay, this watering can ephemera piece is so pretty that it needs to stand all by itself. So we are going to, with the watering can, going to do a bit of surgery. Knife, on the close-up camera, you're going to see, I am going to see the line here. I am going to use my knife very gently, because this is the sort of thing that you can just keep going over. If you try and drag it in on the first try, it's a little bit like my little pig when he tries to eat steak. He just thinks that if he drags the knife through it, it's going to work. It won't. Slow and steady. So what I've done is a couple of times, and now I've managed to slice a little slit in the top, and from the front, as you can see, it looks like the opening of... Okay, off it goes. Yeah, we're going to go back to the camera. Sorry everyone, I'm giving this back to you. So, is that better audio? Okay, so now I can just tuck in my little sprig and my little flower so that it looks like it is just the one piece. I'll tape it from the back to make it secure. Honestly, I think regular wrapping tape is my secret weapon when it comes to card making. What is your secret weapon that nobody would think is on your craft desk and used on almost every card? Okay, so this one. Let's give her a little bit of glue. This is the joy of really pretty ephemera and coordinating pattern papers. You can get a card together in an absolute flash. So let's just dry fit that again. Usually I would put the heavy florals on a wreath towards the bottom, because it just feels like the weight of the flowers would spin. But I really like how that looks. This, I feel like I didn't cut it straight. I'm just going to have to look at that. It should have been. I did it on the guillotine, but that doesn't mean... No, I didn't. I didn't cut it straight, everybody. Excuse me reaching like that. But... no, that wasn't straight at all. That was dreadful. I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry. Let's get that tidied right up. So, to make sure that you cut straight in a guillotine, let's rethink about all of those tips. Make sure you have your paper pushed all the way up to the top and that your lines match up with the lines on the printing on the base of your guillotine, so that you don't end up doing this. Right, story time over. Right, okay, so now this is going to pop here, which, yeah, I'm going to just stick that down flush, use a bit of tape runner, making sure to catch the edges, because having them lift is not enjoyable in the least. Just pop that down, flip to the back, and use my large bladed scissors just to push up along the card base. Flip that the right side round. Now we're going to use the bubbles as they were intended, because we've got them out here. We're going to take the narrowest of all the bubbles, and I'm just going to run them along the edge, just the same as I would with a pinstripe or with a straight. These apple green bubbles, I think, are so soft and delicate. Just going to put it along that top edge there, and then I'm going to use a pin, an apple pin, because this is the other thing that's really enjoyable, is that it means, you're going to see my terrible organising, my lack of organising of these. They used to be in such good order. Well, they're the apple with the silver finish, which are really pretty. Oh no, you know what? It's not just that they're pretty, we're going to use them. Let's use these. So, I'm going to take the middle size width, because this way, we now, with the silver, we now get just that hint of shine, as well as the green along the bottom there. And I think that, gosh, who else makes a really chronic mess when they craft? I have got everything everywhere. It's shameful. Okay, I'm having fun though. So I suppose that makes it okay. I'm going to 3D pop my little watering can creation. So let's get some foam in the spots that are going to need supporting the most. So up the centre of there, at the end on the flower, and then on up the end of the handle, and oh, that would have been showing, and then the spout. Okay, you can obviously use foam squares and such. It's just that I have the tape on the desk, so it's easier. Right. Okay, so now I'm going to use my tweezers because I don't want my fingers in the way. I want to see where I'm putting this. So holding it where there isn't any adhesive, and then sort of dry fitting, moving it around. I mean, you could even put it along the bottom completely separate of the wreath, but I think I'm going to go about here. And now this tiny weeny little birdie, I'm going to sit down there because I think it's super sweet. I love the birdie. And I'm doing the same again. There we go. So I didn't do any stamping on this. There is no sentiment, so that it can be whatever kind of card you want it to be. So we are now 3 cards in, so we're getting there. Right, 4th card. I really want to use this because it is so pretty. So pretty. And I'm going to use some red. So this is the red that comes in the kit. This is always. And I'm going to use some of the specialty bundle, the add-on specialty bundle. I'm going to use the gold. And I'm just going to snip around them. Tight enough that I'm not being wasteful, but not so tight that it ends up going wrong, because that's really frustrating. Now, some of my tape that Liam is going to be suggesting I've had for an eternity, no doubt. And then pop these both into my Cuttlebug sandwich. Just like this. Okay. I'm going to run them back and forth a couple of times. And just because that first die is quite intricate, I am just going to flip the whole sandwich upside down. So now I haven't shifted the dies, I haven't done anything fancy. It shouldn't, according to the laws of physics, make any odds, because it's exactly the same sandwich, but it does. So if you have an intricate die, doing that often is the way to go. And if it still didn't fancy it, so I'm just going to step behind to my big machine and just run it through that. This machine works first time every time, but it is a lot bigger and I can't move it on screen, so there we go, that's cut through. Cuttlebug is a little old lady. I've had her for a very long time now, so I don't want to treat her like a workhorse. But right, so now we have this lovely deep red, and we have the gold. I'm just going to get my pokey tool if I can find it. I was going to say I had it for my microphone a minute ago. Now these gold pieces are great if you like to make shakers, because they're like fractured confetti. Let me show you what I mean. Yeah, of course they've all landed the wrong way up. But if you wanted to have a shaker with really unusual shapes, this is lovely because it looks like geometric as opposed to just the often circular pieces of sequin, but also double-sided mirrors and specialties are really good with this. So just going to poke this out. Usually I don't do this on camera, so I apologise that you're watching me do the admin of die cutting. I'm using the pokey tool because this is a really lovely intricate die, and Liam is going to fix the back camera whilst I take a quick sip of water. Okay. Right, we are getting there. Come on. If you're struggling, this is the joy of my big machine is it pushes it through, but it pushes it in so tight, which means it doesn't often want to come free without a little bit of encouragement. But there are lots of different tips and tricks on how to get away with that. You can die cut bounce sheets, you know, like dryer sheets, because that makes them a little bit slippy and they're more willing to release their dies. Oh my gosh, this one's really not happy. Maybe it was because I ran it through 5 times. Okay, just double checking the comments. Ordered the kit and can't wait. Is there an issue with the postal strike? There is not. We suffered a strike last year and we worked out our alternatives, and so we are all set. We don't let the strike touch us. Only problem we have is with a PO box. So if you use a PO box in Canada, then we struggle. But other than that, we were good. Right, that took far longer than it should have done. Let me just encourage out these last pieces without trying to stab myself. It'll be worth it. Next time though, I promise I will die cut ahead of time. Now, yeah, we've got 2 strikes going on at the moment. We've got the teachers' strikes and we have got the postal strikes. So we have a little piglet here, and I'm not sure if those of you that follow us on Facebook, he was helping us do restock some peel-off bundles yesterday. It was adorable having a little helper, so willing. As I say, I think the pocket money this week might bankrupt us though. So, just poking out these last pieces, and next time I will not use mirror. Okay, so let's get that piece. Just didn't want to release. You can come out as well. Does anybody else talk to their die cuts? Because I certainly do. Okay, so now Oh gosh, I've got it in my hair, it's everywhere. Okay, so now, as you can see, I have a very shiny, very shiny, pretty dye. So, I'm going to glue. Now, there's lots of different ways you can glue this sort of a die. You could put double-sided adhesive on the back of the card before you die cut it. That's probably the most straightforward, but it can be a bit tricky to die cut through release paper, I have found. And it does also mean that you're pushing your die a very long, your paper even further into your die because it's thicker. This particular gold mirror cardstock is lovely and thick, so that's why I had such a job picking it out. Now you can off-center the skeleton, or you can use the skeleton by itself. You don't have to shadow it. There's so many ways to use just these two dies. I'm going to do it as intended, which is on center, but doing a whole trio of it. Have I managed to stick? Oh, I thought I'd stuck it all down. Oh god, this is not going well. Right, so let's grab, I'm going to use a little bit more of this, and I need a card base. So we're on card number 4, people. I know that I have not been quite so on point as I was. I did have a little bit more of an idea last Tuesday, so I am trying. As you can see, I've left my Teflon bone folder somewhere. Obviously somewhere really really necessary. Okay. Oh gosh. Right, card base. Oh, look at that lovely shine. So pretty. Right. We are going to cut a really pretty square. I think I didn't get some glue under here, so let's just correct that. Don't want that sticking up, thank you very much. Now, by eye, and then I'll measure it in case you want to replicate. Let's have a look. This could also be die cut, of course. Yes. So I'm going to this piece is 3 3 1/3 just because I can't do things the normal way. Sorry. Okay. But what I'm going to throw it on the floor because I don't need it, obviously. That's right, I've got magic hands. Ta-da! Yeah, here it is again. Now, little trimmer. I did just chop that with big scissors, so there's my corner. Of course, I marked it on the wrong side. It makes a difference. This edge, this is the edge that was the cardstock. So I want that edge on the top because it's flattest, but of course I've marked it with pencil on that side. So I have flipped it and dragged the pencil over top. And let's make this a nice measurement. 3/8, 3 3/8, and I'm going to make that square. So 3 3/8. Got there in the end, everybody. So 3 3/8 will sit very nicely here. And then I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock as well. And I'm going to cut this at 3 1/8 so that I can leave a nice border. 3 1/8. and then the same again this way. 3 1/8. Okay. Are people following along? Am I making sense? Reason being, I wanted to leave a nice border of red on white, and then have my gold. I think it's very pretty, and I want to use my lovely new peel offs. So let's just do the peel offs. So there are so many ways that you can use peel offs as a background, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick them. There is lots and lots of different ways that you can use them. Right now I am going to show you, it's like a faux tartan, I suppose. So now that I've stuck one down, I'm now going to keep them parallel by using the lines on my mat. And then use the lines going up and down on my mat to create an across the card stripe as well, which is, as you can imagine, at a right angle. Now that's not quite long enough, it's not the end of the world, because I can snip the end, as you've seen me do a few times before if you've watched these lives along, and then I butt them up, and nobody will know there is a join there, but it really does work. So there's one. We'll pop that back because it will be helpful later. I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to do this one super close to it. Pull that off, and then with that same line across, I'm going to do one right down here. I did exactly the same thing again, it's just not long enough. I should have put it ever so slightly lower, but it doesn't matter because I keep my end pieces. And can just fix it like so. Now I'm going to run around the edge of my card, trimming off all my bits that I don't need. Now I'm going to glue this piece. I could have actually die cut my maple leaf from there if I'd have planned this card for what it was going to look like at the beginning. But because I don't, we never know where the card's going to take us. Right, let's pop that piece back, and we'll try and get these loose bits in the bin because I'll be finding those for days. Mary says she loves the maple leaf. It is so pretty, Mary. I'm a little bit in love with it, and there are so many different things that you can do. Right, let's pop some foam here, and let's pop some here, and we'll get a bit more on the other side. Okay, gosh, desk is in a mess again. Yes, I really love these. The peel offs that come in the kit are the straight with gold finish, so they're not over the top, but there is just enough to them because they're shiny. But look at that as a background. How cool is that? Now we get to pop our gorgeous little maple leaf front and centre to shine just like it should. And there we go. So, okay, not quite the flash, but we're at 4 now. We've made 4. Where shall we go next? Okay. let's pick a something and we will craft with it. Let's go with, I want to use one of these lovely little charms. I don't use the charms enough in my live videos. So here's a charm, and I want a really simple wreath because this charm is so pretty that I want it to sing all by itself. Oh, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to use a wreath at all. I am going to use one of our little ladies who's sitting there reading her book. Now this could be me. I mean, she's got the wrong colour hair, but I love a read, and I love the autumn. And there's two of these in the kit. They are so pretty and sparkly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my card base. So this is our 5th card now, everybody. If you're still here, you're doing well. Let's pop that up. Okay. So 5.5. Give it a fold over. Now, I have changed my mind. Sorry, everyone. The thing is, when we're making, we're allowed to be dynamic. I can see Liam sitting there, hitting his face, going, oh, what's she doing now? She's making it harder. Right, so 5.5 by 4.25. So let's try to cut this in the right spot. Pop that one for another day. So I wanted this particular card base because I want her to sit a little bit proud. She is so pretty on the white, and we're going to score this one at 5.5. The charms would make cute earrings. You're right, Alma, I think they would. And they'd make a really nice gift. I used to do that a lot on a card. I'd put a bookmark, or I would put there would be a something. Now, I'm going to do some die cutting. And I'm going to use the inner and outer circle dies. I use both to show everybody how to make a frame, because I think that's going to be really helpful. Oh, I want to use all of them. They're all so pretty, aren't they? So, I think I'm going to use this one. Oh no, I can't. I can't, I tell you. We've got too many pretty options. We will go. It's the pressure now, isn't it? It's the actual pressure. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to use this one. Now, we do 2 different kinds of circle dies, everybody. And I'm going to show you my sets, which are very well loved. So here's one set. At least everybody at home knows that it's not just them. This is the other set. So face value, they look really similar, but one, let me pull these out. What are the odds that I am going to find ones that are the same size? I need to let that idea go. So I am going to pick 2. There we go. I'm going to pick these 2. In fact, that was really lucky. So the bigger one, Liam's going to put you on the close-up now, when he stops stretching and yawning at me. This one has the cut line around the outside, and then on the inside you've got these really lovely little stitch lines. So from this piece you'll have a circle with stitches and this is the normal stitched die. These are our newer ones, which are the stitched outer die. So it cuts a circle, and then on the remaining piece of paper you have a stitched effect, so it makes the most pretty frame. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to lay this one down, and what you do is you tape it in spot. Now I'm going to lay down my second one, and I'm going to eyeball this to be as close to the centre as possible, and that's much easier said than done when there's such a big gap between the two, but I do feel like I've got that in the right spot. So now they are both taped into spot. Going to chop around, grab my die plates, which I, like a good girl, put back, which makes a nice change. Put the sandwich back to the right way up. Okay, now let's pop them through. So we've got the inner and the outer die, one from each set. Get comfortable, everyone. Was that why you were yawning? He's cheeky, isn't he? He's really cheeky. Okay, so I'm going to pop this little circle out. That I will definitely keep for something else because it's really pretty. This piece I can allow to go into the scrap bin. I was joking about this at a crop recently about what I consider a scrap. It's I hoard everything. I keep all of them. Right. So now I have this really cute little circle, and we'll show you from the back because there isn't any pattern on it. I have got stitching on the remain and stitching on the inside. So that's the difference between those two die sets. So here we go. Do I use the green cord or the gold cord? Let's have a little look. Okay, so this would benefit from lighting. Now the last time I used fire in a craft live video, I set my mat on fire, so I'm not going to do that this time. So we're going to go with the thread. We're going to go with the thread so I don't need to use fire. But I'm going to lace it through. There is no upside down or wrong way up with this. Going to lay it so that the charm is in the middle, and it's easier to move the paper than it is the charm often. Make sure that I'm happy with where that is. My trusty tape, any brand will do, I am not sponsored. And then tape that on, and now I have it's difficult because of the angle of the camera. In fact, look at me in the corner, little me in the corner. There we go. Let's move you over the black or the blue. So I've now got my lovely little dangly charm. So we'll cut off the tails so they can't be seen. Lay it down flat again. Going to foam up. And I'm actually going to use, I'm going to use this foam tape. It's the same stuff, it's just slightly thicker because, gosh, just had there's a bug in here and it flew at me. So if you just saw me jump out of my skin, that's why. This isn't a shaker card, so I don't need to worry about it being solid. There can be gaps when I'm putting this on. I think Liam needs to be a better bug man, doesn't he? Oh, that frightened the life out of me. I'm not good at being jumped, really not good at it. It ends up making me really angry. So, right. Because this is slightly thicker, it will allow the charm to move that little bit more. So we'll pop so that will swing. I love movement. Now when you're sticking this down, all you need to do is make sure that your ties are at the top. That's the important part here. So I'm going to hold the charm on the front so that it's out of the way, and I'm going to focus on where the hanging part is and make sure that is top, so that now, yeah, that's nice. She's going to need to get stuck up, and also I don't want her to float, so I'm actually going to give her a little bit of a grounding. Now, we had somewhere on this monstrosity of a desk frayed burlap, and there was a blending brush. I am going to do the gentlest of little smudging just in this area so that she's not floating. I don't want to create a whole scene, but it just make it look like she's not floating on a sea of nothingness. I'm being naughty using my hand to blot that off, but it's because I don't want to have a hard smear. Okay, so now when she's there, I'm hoping that can be seen on the screen, but she just doesn't quite look like she doesn't belong there so much now. It's just a gentle shadow for her and the leaves to sit on. Okay, now I'm going to put tape behind her head and foam beneath her bottom, her feet and the leaves, and I need to use the same depth foam as I'd used over here, because otherwise there would be a sagging situation, and we don't like sagging. So either end of the leaves, behind the little birdie as well. Okay, so, and then we'll pop that behind the knees. We're just going to pop a little bit by her feet, and I think we can call that supported. Now I'm going to pop some glue up behind her head to attach her down onto the ring. And now we are almost there with number 5. But yes, this could you could absolutely, the recipient, you know, you could write on the inside of the card, please remove charm and add it to your charm bracelet perhaps, or shouldn't have held it there, that was right. So now pop her just like this. Now I need Liam to flick the camera to the forward facing camera so that I can do the little demonstration with this one. Of course it needs to be maybe here because of the focus. Yeah, and again I haven't sentimented that one either. So 5 in a flash, not quite a flash today, was it darling? Where are we? What's the time? It's not telling me, it doesn't talk to me anymore. Okay, so 1 hour and 25 minutes. That's not too sad for 5 cards considering the flapping that I had at the beginning with the audio. So we have die cut and used the new peel-offs. We've used the mesh, which I love because it's a bit of texture. We've used some of the really shiny leaves, which I think are very, very pretty and happy. We've done a heavy ephemera and the bubble peel-offs. I haven't used bubbles for ages and they are so cute. We did a sneaky little bit of ephemera surgery. We created a complete background, so there's no pattern paper whatsoever on this card, which is quite unusual for me. And we've created a card that we're giving a gift to, and it's so easy for someone to just snip that off and add it to a bookmark or whatever it is they fancy. So from this kit now, I have created, I've just seen the bug. Oh gosh, it's by my water bottle. So I'm going to wrap this up really quick now. So now from this kit we have got made here 7 cards, but there are plenty more because I've still got at least 8 if not 9 sheets of uncut patterned paper. I have still got tons of ephemera. Obviously the dies go forever. Still got lots of cardstock and mesh. Sequins, I haven't used the mix. There's 2 kinds of ribbons, my lovely little gold acorns. I mean, to be fair, the gold acorns would look really pretty as a little ad on the maple leaf card in the bottom corner, but you can keep decorating and playing for hours. Thank you everyone for sticking with me until the end. I really hope that you've enjoyed yourselves and that you've seen something that's made you feel inspired and like you want to go get into your craft area and get your kit out. They are all shipped. We have got perhaps 2 that we're just waiting for questions on. So we're all good. We will be starting sneak peeking of the next one, goodness, next week I believe. We have got details for the class coming up this week. And then, yeah, I think that's about us. We've got until the 18th for the challenge, for the blog challenge. So if you were tempted to join, there are some fabulous cards on there. We've got some really good Halloween themed ones. You can be using any of the products that you like. There's no rules with it, apart from some very basic ones, and that's only if you want to be in with a chance to win $52. So pop over, it's on our website, you'll see it's the layout blog. Until next week, until next Tuesday, when we're back with a One Sheet Wonder, please make something beautiful and share it in our group. Mwah.